Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave,
I'm Catie.
and you are listening to our Alone podcast. Alone is a show on the History Channel about surviving in isolation. And where were we last episode, Catie? What happened to us?
Maybe we were in isolation. No, I think not Fowler. Zach went home and cut himself with his axe. That
No,
was
no, no. We skipped it. For our podcast, we missed episode 3.
right.
So
But
yeah, we were.
that's where you left off on the
That's where
podcast.
we left off. Yeah. Yeah, just we were doing holiday stuff basically, right?
Right.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
why we
exactly.
the holidays. It's tough to find time when you're spending time with family and doing all that stuff. And family is extra important to us this year, so we wanted to make, extra time.
Every minute count.
Yeah, we couldn't find time to do the podcast, so we're just gonna do episode 3 and 4 recap here. Probably mostly episode 4 and touch on a few things from episode 3, right?
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so where do we begin? I was thinking maybe we could begin by speaking about the new players that we hadn't seen for the first 2 episodes. We have 2 contestants that we hadn't seen yet. We have Dan and Carly, and I think we can start with Dan.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on Dan?
Excuse me. My first impression was that I liked him a lot because he was a lazy survivalist, and that speaks to me. If I were to be a survivalist, I'd be the laziest type. I have no doubt about it. So, and it makes sense too because he's conserving as much energy as possible. So, and he also seems very kind of dry humor, funny dude. I don't know. Doesn't really care. He just wants the money. It seems.
Yeah, I get a pretty good vibe from Dan too. He seems to know what he's doing. Totally agree with you that you can relate to the lazy survival style. Doesn't always work out for everyone, I don't think, because I mean, obviously shit needs to get done. Like you have to feed yourself and stuff happens and you have to bounce back from it. But ultimately, we have seen a lot of success from that style. I won't spoil anything because I don't remember the guy's name, but the winner of season 1, kind of had that style. He spent a lot of time just laying in his shelter and like singing songs to himself and just kind of like trying to keep himself entertained while he conserved his energy. And that's a highly underrated survival strategy. So you got to feel good about Dan for that.
That's true. It just remains to be seen if he can do it at the same pace as the season 1 winner. I don't know. That seems like hell to me, like sitting in your tent and singing to yourself so you don't lose your mind.
Yeah, it's a good way to lose your mind.
I mean, it just goes to show you that you have to have an iron fortitude to, the physical stuff is, it is what it is, but to just make so you don't lose your mind for however many days. Like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I don't know if this guy has it. We just got a glimpse.
What day are we on here, like, by the end of episode 4?
Episode 4 started on, like, day 17. By the end of episode 17, they were on day 35.
Yeah, they went through 18 days.
They went through, like, almost 3 weeks in one episode. And I'm like, good Lord, these people are...
And not showing too many characters either. So
and it's like, what about Dan and Carly? What have they been doing for the last 3 weeks? It's bizarre.
There's obviously just not much to work with there. It is a competition where all these people are trying to win the money. So I'm guessing they're trying to make things as easy for themselves as possible. They're all just laying low. And I think things are gonna get more interesting as the season goes on, obviously, because when things are going to start to get more difficult, and when that happens, that's when things are going to get interesting. Hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah, if you think about it, Dan and Carly have been on 1 of 4 episodes so far. I mean, either they have a very long end game, or they make it very far, or they're just not interesting. Like Dan is literally just sitting in his shelter, and Carly's just rebuilding her shelter over and over because it keeps caving in on itself.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, did you say what day we're on?
35. Britt tapped out on day 35.
Okay, yeah. So something interesting to note is I believe the season 1 winner made it 55 days or something like that.
I think 56, and then season 2 was 67 or 68 days, something like that. They're already over halfway there.
Yeah, so if we have 7 people left in episode 4 and they're on day 35, you have to imagine we're going farther than 60 some days, right?
Well, either that or they're all, because they all seem on the brink of starvation. They do seem like they're struggling. So they might all reach their boiling point at the same time, but they're hanging in there, which is pretty cool to see.
So you're foreseeing more of like a between day 35 and day 60, everyone's going to start dropping like flies.
I mean, it just seems that the human limit is somewhere around that 60, 70 mark. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Everyone seems to think before, they go out there that they're going to be able to make it like a year. So, I mean,
and then they make it a week.
Yeah, but they are survival experts, so they must have some sort of meter to gauge like, okay, I could theoretically make it a year. I mean, don't you think that is possible that someone could make it a lot longer than 60 days,
Because you look at the amount of calories they take in, and it's like very minimal. I don't know how you could live like that for a year.
Yeah, plus they're probably expending way more energy than we do in our daily lives. Like we drive to work and, a lot of times at work, I stand at work a lot, but a lot of times I'm not moving around that much. Like going to my job, doing my daily life, I'm probably burning half the calories these guys are just trying to like make fire, catch fish, all that stuff. So
yeah, so I don't know if it's going to go. It's probably going to be longer it'll probably be the record, but I don't think it's going to be like 127 days. I don't see that happening.
Should we place bets on how long the winter lasts?
I'll say 75 days.
I'm going to say 87.
Holy camole, that's 3 months.
Yeah, is that possible in a production cycle for them to make it that long?
I'm not sure when this was filmed. If you think of winter in the southern hemisphere, I think is in March through Mayish.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So 87 days isn't, like, from a production standpoint, not possible.
No, it's possible.
Okay. Well, I'm going with 87 then.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So what's the one word that comes to mind when you think of Carly?
One word? I can't think of one.
I got one.
Why, did you have one?
Yeah, I had one. Why else would I ask that loaded question? I have
you
one.
Had a answer waiting.
Baskets.
Is that what she says? If there's one word that someone would associate with me, it's baskets.
No, she doesn't say that, but she's like a basket weaver. That's like her thing.
She's pretty obsessed with baskets. I forgot about that.
I feel like she's got like kind of a tint of crazy, but not. She seems nice and all, and not to be an asshole. Just like a tint of crazy, and they're kind of the same crazy I might have, but
she seems a little dippy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that. I just mean like everything's kind of cool, and I don't know.
But
like
baskets.
her life is very off the grid, and that's someone like that would be very good in this situation. But she's got to work on her roof building skills.
Yeah. What else do we know about her? I guess she's got like a boyfriend. She worked in construction.
Yeah, she seems like she's very.
She went hiking in Washington. She did like a 500-mile hike through the wilderness.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that's about it.
She's got the resume. She's got the resume, but.
And I don't remember much what happened with her, as far as like on the show.
Her shelter collapsed, and it kind of led her to a dark place, and then she kind of said she was missing home. Right.
So she's already talking about missing home.
But it's been 3 weeks, so who knows where she's at now.
Yeah, true. And speaking of who knows where they're at now, We got another cliffhanger just dropped. Like,
yeah, I think that's their new thing. They just
isn't that like where we left off in our podcast last time, was talking about how pissed off we would be if they just left Greg's cliffhanger nothing, like didn't resolve it?
yeah, and that's what they did.
Are you pissed off about it?
I'm not so much pissed off as like, why would they embrace this as a storytelling technique? Like they have to end on a cliffhanger, but they have no intention of resolving these cliffhangers because they've done it like 3 times. So why even end on a cliffhanger? I mean, the point of using that as a storytelling device is so that people are excited and talk about it, and then they're, when it's resolved, they're like, oh, okay. But these just never get resolved.
Yeah, it's kind of like what is that? Pavlov's bell, or am I mixing up 2 things?
Pavlov's dogs?
The bell, yeah, the bell, where you ring the bell when you give them a treat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like ringing the bell and never giving the dog a treat. Like,
yeah. So they're just salivating.
Yeah, they're not rewarding us for coming back after the cliffhanger. To me, I don't know. It's frustrating. I don't like the editing choice there. It's kind of stupid.
Well, I could maybe forgive it once, but they've used it over and over and over.
At least twice now. At least 2 episodes we've said this, where they've ended on a cliffhanger. I
feel like they did it another time too. I feel like they've done it 3 times.
3 out of 4 episodes ended on a cliffhanger. Yeah.
Did the 4th one end on a cliffhanger?
I can't remember how this one ended, honestly.
I actually think the 3rd one ended with Fowler just kind of looking at the sun.
Yeah, the 3rd episode ended with Fowler finding sunshine, and the 4th one ended with Britt tapping out.
Oh, okay.
So
maybe they've abandoned that now.
Yeah, it's been 2 episodes, I think, that have had the cliffhanger at the end of the episode with 0 resolution.
Yeah, they need to stop.
But Greg is not lost anymore. Apparently, he found his way back. But he's not. He doesn't look like he's doing too good, Catie.
Yeah, I almost thought he might tap out this episode.
So did I.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah. I kind of felt like maybe they were doing a Brit misdirect, and it was gonna be Greg that tapped. But nope.
He toughed it out well for now. But that fox thing, I felt so bad for him. That damn fox.
Yeah, that is the episode title is like Outfoxed, and
and then the quote was about a fox too. It was all about a fox.
With foxes, one must play the fox is the quote.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Greg is not playing the fox.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't seem like a very fox-like individual, to be fair. So.
Are you not feeling your winner pick anymore?
No, I like him. I am a little bit worried about him. I feel like the whole fox thing. But, Fowler was in a bad situation too last week. I thought Fowler was going to tap out, and then he got a little bit of sunlight, and he was okay. So, it just takes a little turnaround, and Greg could be in a dark place, and he might succeed, but...
that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering, like, do you sense that this is a like a redemption story, turnaround story for Greg, or is it just like he's going to slowly get worse and worse and wither away?
Well, at the end of the episode, I thought this could be a redemption story in the making, but then when I saw the preview for next week, I got flashes of Jose from season 2. The minute he started building that kayak, I knew it was a bad idea. And so now Greg's going to build a raft, and I don't see that ending well either.
What did he say was his goal with the raft?
Well, I don't know. It was just in the preview. To go to another river. There's another river nearby, I think, to get some other fish. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he said something like that in the preview.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess yet to be seen. Yeah. Greg seems like he's doing rough. I wouldn't have my money on him to win at this point.
Probably not.
But who is doing pretty good?
Who's that?
I think Catie is doing pretty good.
She was thriving in that 3rd episode. Yeah, she seemed like she was kicking some ass. I don't remember specifically what she did.
Really
Her
just a lot.
house. Her house is
Yeah,
insane.
she's just building a really kick-ass house, and she has a very nice quote about. I think she'd already said something along these lines in like the first episode, but she says something about, my idea is to thrive in my home. Like this is my home
Mm.
now. And she talks more about that, how she's not looking at it as like surviving out here. This is where she moved to. Like,
Mm.
so it's her home now. And not just like saying stuff like that, but it's apparent that she's making it happen. So I think her long-term game looks good.
Yeah, she stands a good chance. My initial expectations about her thought she was way too like moonchild about everything, but she seems to actually know what she's doing, and she's backing up what she's saying. So I have more faith in her now.
Definitely. So Fowler, we get some good stuff from Fowler, some cool new contraptions.
Yeah.
Fowler has a slingshot, apparently. I don't know if I forgot to check his equipment list. I could do that now quick.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't
Seems
know.
like something you could make pretty easily.
Yeah, my only question is like where does he get the like rubber band
Yeah.
or the flexi thing part of
It
it?
could have just been one of
So
his things that he brought, elastic.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, he's doing some target practice on some old man's beard, and he nails it.
After 18 shots.
Yeah, true. But yeah, the more interesting probably of his contraptions, his new contraptions, would be the what do you call it? It's like a duck trap or a duck boat.
I don't know. What did he call it? The Duck 3000, Duck Master 3000 or something like that.
Is that what he called it?
He called it something 3000, but I mean, it ended up killing fish. Didn't really get a duck, but
Right. Yeah, he never did get a duck in the episode, did he? It was
no, caught him a fish though. So maybe if he goes fishing, he'll catch a duck.
yeah. Okay, I was just looking at the equipment list here. Fowler brought a slingshot as one of his items.
Oh,
Custom made.
that's probably something he made though. Yeah.
30 pieces of ammo.
Mm.
And he shot 18 of them at that beard.
Well, he could probably go retrieve it.
Nah, I'm sure he used rocks when he was doing target practice, but saving the ammo for the ducks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you think of Fowler's contraption?
I mean, I had no idea as to the mechanics of it, no ability to understand what he did, but I thought it was unique. Haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't understand how it worked either. Like it almost
Like, is it gonna trap the duck?
Yeah, I guess I got the part of like, okay, if they go for the fish, they grab the fish head off of the thing and the rock falls off and the rock goes underwater and pulls them down with it. And hopefully the hook catches their body somewhere, so it pulls them underwater and drowns them.
Okay.
What I don't get
I
is
didn't understand any of
that. It's really pretty simple.
Doesn't matter.
So like the paddle part of it, I thought that was like super interesting. I couldn't really get my head around how he was able to make the paddle like just go. Yeah, it just went and he's able to like pull it back in. Is it kind of like where it only
He
goes?
used some of the elastic from his slingshot.
Right, and that's how the paddle like wound up. So is that how he did? He just like wound it up real tight?
Yeah, I think he made it like a wind-up toy.
Okay, and then he lets go and the paddle just shoots it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he can just pull it back in with a string or something?
Yeah, he had it on a line.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
But yeah, he's another level of the dock he made and the duck contraption that he made. And he's doing well. He's doing better than he was last episode. I was concerned that he was going to tap out last episode. So he's improving. So perhaps Greg's story can follow a similar arc.
For sure. What do you think about Crazy Dave?
Well, we didn't see much of him. His door was pretty badass. But I wondered, he said he had 2 chairs, and I was like, why do you have 2 chairs? Are you expecting company? Like, why waste the energy on an extra chair?
Yeah, are you sensing maybe more craziness seeping in there? Like
If he
he
has
is
someone else sitting in that chair, I think he's got some issues that
he
they're
is
not showing. Maybe that's why they're
he
not.
is expecting company, Catie.
Or he's had company every night.
He's already had company, yeah.
He's never alone.
Yeah, we don't get much from Dave in either episode. I guess this one we got a little bit.
You just have to assume that he's thriving. He's made 2 chairs. His house is pretty cool.
And like you said, I think the big thing they focused on was his door.
Yeah.
Like he just made a really nice door.
Yeah, it fit perfectly and it opened and closed. I didn't know how he did that, but I don't know how most of them do anything. So that's why I watched the show, to
learn.
learn.
Yeah, so much to learn. Let's talk about Megan. I feel like she got quite a bit of screen time in episode 4.
I thought she was gonna tap too. I thought she was gonna get like hypothermia or something and have to leave, or just tap because she was tired and not eating. But she got a fish, and that seemed to give her some new life.
Yeah, she had a bit of a redemption story arc in the episode for sure. I thought the same thing. I thought she would tap from hypothermia.
I have another question about Megan. Why in the hell would you shave your legs while you were out there?
I don't know, makes you feel like civilized or something.
But like, you'd think any extra warmth in the winter in the wild would be good, right?
That's a good point. I mean, is that, as a woman, have you ever grown your leg hair out ever in your life?
I mean, she's gone like 17 days without shaving her legs, and I've certainly gone that long. So
Okay,
I don't
okay.
understand.
Fair.
I just don't. I can't understand why she went to the lengths to shave her legs with a freaking knife.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, does leg hair, does it actually, do you think it serves the purpose of warmth at all?
I mean, if you were there for a long time, you could grow a decent amount of hair on your legs.
You grow a nice furry batch of hair on them legs.
Depends on the woman, but yeah. So
okay.
that confused me. I mean, it seemed like a waste of time, potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
And like so pointless.
Yeah, that was my thought too for a second, was the danger side of it. Like, what if you're probably tired, hungry, she's not eating any protein. What if you cut your leg, you know? I mean, it's kind of risky.
Or like your finger or something.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
Yeah, very risky. She seems to be a risk taker, though. I mean, she just to try and get a fish that she suspected was on her line, she goes into the water that is freezing cold, risks hypothermia.
Yeah.
So she's doing all kinds of dumb, risky stuff. So I don't know. We'll see how that works out for her.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth on her. I think she's knowledgeable enough to do really well out there, but yeah, she takes risks, and then I worry about her missing her family. But that's gonna happen with all of them.
For sure. I feel like now might be a good time to get into Britt.
Okay.
And his exit.
Sure.
Kind of crazy how in episode 3, Britt is doing so well with the fishing. We're getting an edit of him having the best luck of anyone with fish. He's catching so much fish that he actually has to make like a cooler to store fish for later eating. And then it's such a quick turnaround from that to episode 4. He's starving his ass off.
Well, it's a quick turnaround for us, but it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Do the fish like get wise? Like they all say, oh, I had such good luck at first, and then they just don't. So like, do the fish catch on to what's happening, or do they just go away, or do they catch them all?
I think, I don't really know. I'm no expert on these things.
Yeah.
Which is why we're podcasting about it like we're experts. But anyways, I imagine it's like a combination of all these things. Like, okay, maybe fish get wise. Maybe the fish migrate in some way, like you were
Hmm.
saying,
Hmm.
and maybe there's a limited amount of fish. You know, maybe there's not enough fish to catch one all every day. Yeah.
Wasn't that a point of like, remember in Survivor Second Chance how Monica said they were going to catch all the clams, and Kimmy was like, "You can't catch all the clams." But
Yeah.
that was
Well,
the ocean they were
that was
talking
the
about.
ocean. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that is a key difference. Like the ocean is extremely abundant, whereas
Hmm.
like these smaller lakes, they
Hmm.
really do have a limited amount of supply. Probably
Okay.
more than I we're thinking here, but
Yeah.
um, definitely less than the ocean. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Yes, you
Excellent.
can't catch all the clams in the ocean
It's
um,
been established.
when you're on a beach. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, Britt, I feel the same about him that I felt about Nicole in season two. That the timing, they say I can survive here, no problem. I had a nice home. I was fine. It was missing my family. But they both seem to reach those points when the food ran, like when they can't catch food.
Yeah.
So obviously you can't really do the survival part either, but they just lay the blame at their whole missing their family thing. If they were catching fish and eating fish, they could probably survive more and still miss their family, but and last a little longer. So I don't think they should entirely place the blame on the I miss my family.
Yeah, I feel like there is probably some truth to that. It's a convenient excuse to be able to say, um, ultimately I tapped out for my family.
No, he
Like
tapped
you
in.
could.
He tapped into his
Oh,
family.
that's right. He tapped in. But yeah, I totally can see that. I mean, it's you can tap out at any time for any reason and just say, "Oh, tapped out for my family." I
Yeah.
cut my hand off with this machete, but I was missing my family so bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, I could survive all day, and it's obviously no, you couldn't. You were pretty much starving out there. So
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely misses his family. I mean, Campbell is a badass kid.
yeah, of
I
course,
would
anyone would
miss.
miss their kid. Yeah.
I like the part in episode 3 where Britt was like showing off Campbell's dance moves.
Oh yeah, that was cute. See, he was
Uh,
still doing okay then. I think just the lack of food wore him down to the point where his mind reasoned with him like, oh, you're just going home to see your family, you're not giving up, because you bargain with yourself when you're in a desperate situation.
yeah, and absolutely, he did miss his family a lot, and that's what he was feeling that really pulled him out. But yeah, it's a combination, and it's definitely triggered by starving and not surviving. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
unless you do like severely injure yourself, I feel like you can't just lay the blame on one factor. Like it's a multitude of things.
Unless you're who is the guy from season 2 who was like really crushing it out there, but he just missed Barbara.
Mike, I think he wanted to
Mike,
go home
yeah,
to Barbara. He had
yeah,
freaking games and stuff and
he might be the
shares.
exception to that rule or that theory because he he really did. I mean,
Yes,
that's why he left was for Barbara. Like
that's
he,
why. Yeah,
he was doing
he
fine.
mentally he couldn't handle it without her.
Yeah, it was more mental for
But
him,
like
yeah,
Nicole and Britt, like they were at the end of their rope, like with the
to begin with.
survival stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, and then they're like, "Yeah, I miss my family."
yeah. That's the only reason I'm going. I just miss my family.
Exactly. Um, yeah, so did I get this number right? I have a note here that says 28 days without fish for Brit. That can't be
I think it
right.
was. I thought it was 23.
Because if he went out on day 35, and that means he would have stopped catching fish after the first week. So I must have
Yeah,
heard I
if
must
it,
have heard that wrong.
I bet you the second or when did they last show him? Episode 3? Well, it must have ended on day like 15 or 16. So he must have just had a really good rush of fish and then it just went away immediately.
And maybe he ate them too fast too. Maybe he like didn't conserve well. That's
Maybe.
probably underreported
Or maybe his
story.
cooler thing didn't pan out. I don't know.
Yeah. He was also having problems with his traps, like, but he was, from what I understand, the way they edited it was to show us that he was making poor decisions because he was like, you know what I mean? Like he was.
Did you say his traps? I thought you said his craps.
No, sorry, his traps. His
okay, yeah.
traps.
Okay.
Yeah. He was making poor decisions by using like fishing line for like the net or whatever. And as it turns out, was it rabbits were chewing through or
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they were chewing right through his traps, and he was like, "You idiot! You should have known they would have chewed through those." And I think that was just an example of poor decision making from starving.
Right, mental fatigue, fog. You said a fog.
Yes.
Yes.
Episode 3 stuff. They kind of point out a lot in episode 3 about how winter is coming. I guess.
Yeah, they didn't really mention it that much, even though it's been like a month. So you'd think winter would have settled in, but it doesn't appear like it has.
Yeah, they just talk a lot in episode 3 about like a couple different characters are pointing out, the snow coming down the mountain slowly, like kind of seeing that the snow is creeping in, the cold is it's coming. Yeah, so
I think this episode was just focused specifically on traps and fishing and catching food. So they must have a theme in each episode.
Yes, indeed. And poor Greg just could not outfox that fox, man.
Well, foxes are smart, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with that fox.
Yeah, I don't know how I figured that out. He must know what traps are. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very good insight into how intelligent animals can be in the wild. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, he had that thing figured out, man.
Yeah. And anything Greg did to try to change it up, he figured out a way around it.
Definitely. That fox was smarter than Greg. At least.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, I don't know what else there is to say. Do you got anything?
No, I don't. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Cool beans. What's the plan? Are we trying to do one next week after the next episode?
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, we don't have the family or the Christmas stuff anymore, so we should be able to. If not, I mean, at least every 2 episodes.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll make an effort.
Oh, yeah. Give it the old college try.
What's your schedule looking like these days? Do you have days off?
Should be weekends off.
Yeah, so maybe we can.
So maybe this weekend.
Yeah, maybe this weekend sometime. Okay, we'll pick it up next weekend, hopefully.
Sounds good.
And cover episode 5 of Alone. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.